What is up, everybody? It is your boy DT Sensei. And look, we are here with the first week. We had legal tampering, we had free agency started, we got trades being backfired. We're going to be talking about everything this week that's happened in the National Football League. But we also got some draft stuff we need to get to. We need to finish up the combine. And what's better not to have one of our guys, Damian Parson, the Locked On Draft, coming on to tap in with Enters the Lab crew. But buckle up. It's your favorite crew on Thursday night. It's time to Enters the Lab. Is up, everybody? Welcome to Enters the Lab podcast, presented by Red Zone DC Media, live on YouTube. We got the crew here tonight to discuss many things that happened in the National Football League and to catch up on the NFL draft with prospects, pros and cons, and much more on this channel. We got a very special guest today. We have Damian Parsons of the Locked On Draft Pod. What is up, Damian? How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, man. This draft season, no time for the weary. So, we get it in, we take care of business.
All right, most definitely. Lady E, we got C. Henry up in the building. OG, how y'all doing today?
I'm a Falcons fan, so.
And I'm a Lions fan, so hey, waiting on some activity over here. Just waiting on some activity. I'm trying to, get Brad to do something. Got the hat on. Hey, we need to do something, Brad.
Well, I think we got a lot of teams that that's trying to do stuff this week, obviously. So let's go ahead and tap in just a little bit of what's happened this week. A lot of teams made some moves, obviously, with the legal transferring period. Then officially everything's hit at 4:00. But the biggest story, obviously, right now was at the time, and it deals with the draft as well. The Raiders at one point made a trade of trading Max Crosby to the Baltimore Ravens and gave away 2 of their first rounders. But however, since it's the legal tampering thing, you have to wait till everything hit ink on paper and also with the physical. So with that being said, the trade was rescinded, and the Raiders literally sent a whole post saying, "Hey, the Ravens did this. It's going crazy and stuff." So let's go ahead around the table, and we'll start with you, Damian. Because it deals with the draft. There's major implications on that because probably at that time you already had a breaking news pod and stuff. You're always looking like, "Hey, this is probably what the Raiders could do. Maybe add offensive talent with projected number 1 pick Fernando Mendoza." Now that stuff kind of changes up a little bit. Like, what is your initial reaction to what transpired the other day?
It sucks for the Raiders, and it's great for the Ravens. For the Raiders, you were about to have 2 top 15 picks. You address some necessary needs already through free agency, getting your center and improving the offensive line, getting some defensive help. They had some trades there was a lot of things that happened for them financially. So being able to have that extra first round pick, you look at potentially adding another guard or a top wide receiver with that 14th pick and everything like that. But now with that trade being rescinded and whatnot, now they have to kind of just adjust their plans more. So what you're doing with your first overall pick. Now you look at, rounds 2 and 3 and so forth and so on, and make sure that you're drafting not just for need, but you're drafting the impact players that can come in and make their presence felt. Really, for the Ravens, it's simple. You got Trey Hendrickson for cheaper. And you still kept your first round picks. You know what I mean? So if you're Baltimore, you get to you more than likely Baltimore's at 14 where they get to do what I said the Raiders could have done. They get to wait and see if Jordan Tyson falls to them at 14 or a Venga Ione out of Penn State, the guard, if he falls to them at 14, which he probably will, or Spencer Fano, the tackle out of Utah that is probably going to be pushed into playing either center or guard because he has short arms and shorter wingspan. So either way, the Baltimore Ravens, who are one of the best teams at drafting and developing, they get to do what they love to do every year, and that's just sit there, stick and pick.
Okay, I just want to break some slight news to you guys. It looks like the Steelers have just agreed to terms with Jaquan Brisker, so he is now heading to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 1-year deal, $5.5 million deal.
Big move for them. That hurts Chicago, but Chicago also can grab a safety in their draft. It's a deep safety class.
Very deep safety class. So, Lady E, so you looking at that trade and stuff like that, there's been a lot of talks about, people, it's like the Ravens being a little grimy, it's like, how in the world y'all sit here and trade for a guy who we already know from a national standpoint, he was already injured because they were trying to beg him to get surgery. So, I mean, how do you feel about this process at all? And I've even seen people talk about, like, the Ravens should forfeit a pick. What's your stance on that as well?
No.
The Ravens knew what they were getting into. I think they probably was trying to call out the Raiders' bluff on Max Crosby, probably trying to lie about his injury because he was saying that he was fine, he wanted to play. So they probably were trying to call out the bluff until they realized that, that knee is not what they thought it was. So I truly, initially, I blame the Ravens for that because they were trying to, in my honesty, they were trying to be greedy. They wanted both. They wanted Crosby and they wanted Henderson. So, again, that's what happens when you don't do your due diligence and realize that players think they know best, but sometimes the team actually knows best. But hey, Crosby's right back where he said that he didn't want to leave, and all I'm gonna say, you better go get that knee fixed.
I just want to say, man, I mean, Mr. DaCosta said he had dreams and visions of both of those guys playing on the same roster. It's hard for me to believe that the numbers that were discussed for Trey that the Trey ended up getting, that both of those are going to be, you're going to be able to fit both of those under the salary cap umbrella and make other improvements to your team. So I don't know what Mr. DaCosta was, really trying to pull here, but you know what? Is it a crime?
Oh, now he didn't put out the shot. Dang.
You know what I'm saying? Is it a crime? I think they got away with one, but to be honest with you, I think both teams kind of win by, from this. Of course, the Ravens get a top-notch pass rusher. And again, I don't know if they were, saying they were going to really be able to keep both of these guys under their umbrella. Maybe they did want to take a look at the knee, and when they finally looked at it, they maybe didn't really like what was going on, and they went another direction. But at the same time, you look at what the Raiders have done kind of in free agency. Now, I don't know kind of the contract implications, if this is going to affect some of the moves that they've made previously. This will kind of be unprecedented as far as I've been alive. But just, seeing what they've done with Quay Walker and the Kobe Dean and some of the other moves that they made and now getting Crosby back, that defense looks a lot more formidable on that side of the football. Now, you would have definitely liked to have those 2 first-round picks to kind of, add to your rebuilding. But I think both of these clubs kind of come out of this kind of looking okay, looking all right after this, the Knicks trade, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I got you. So, I mean, I just think for me, the way all of it just happened, like it just happened just so quickly. Like we were in here looking at other moves and stuff like that. And, I'm thinking like, oh, there's got to be a reason why they did this. And, of course, it's like, sometimes you use the common sense like, okay, wait a minute. Why trade my picks when I could just sign a guy? But then it's like, maybe I probably should have just signed a guy from the jump anyway. I mean, I understand, there's going to be competition. Trust me and believe me, a lot of teams have money now. They're trying to sign all these big-time free agents and stuff like that. But, I think, Max Crosby, we know from him deep down, he is a Raider. Like he loves playing in Las Vegas. So, necessarily he didn't want to leave. And I still think for him coming back to a team that's building the right way with Tom Brady and the new general manager and potentially getting Mendoza with Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers and probably add some more toys and stuff like that, they can actually do something in the NFC West. But, it is what it is. It got rescinded, and Max Crosby, he's gearing himself up for the 2026 season. So,
one quick point, DT, before we move on. One quick point.
Okay.
Max is what 29 years old, I believe. Now, even with what's going on out there in LA in terms of their research, I'm sorry, in Las Vegas in terms of their resurgence, do you think they can turn it around to be a winning franchise while Max is still somewhat in his prime? So let's say let's I think with Max being 29, let's give him 3 to 4 years. Let's say 4 years.
I would say that. Yeah.
Do you think that organization is looking? How should I say? Has the potential to win big in those 4 years?
Hold on, I want to ask Dame this question. What do you think?
Everybody.
Within the next 4 years,
I think it's.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think Max is going to be on the team in the next 4 years.
Okay.
I think they're still looking to trade him.
Okay.
You know what I mean, and everything like that. Because, granted, I mean he's saying all the right things, but from a fiscal standpoint, like, man, we made some moves with the thought process that you weren't going to be on our books. So I think that they're still looking, and teams are still calling. I'd be shocked if he is on the roster come training camp. I think as we get closer to the draft, a trade might happen. But I think for the team, they've made the right moves. Now you guys see the young guys. Once you get these guys in, of course, Mendoza, get everybody flushed into this Clint Kubiak offense. Let these guys really mesh in and develop. I mean, we watched it with the Patriots, right? Like you get your quarterback, you get the necessary pieces, you bring in the right vets, you get in the right coach, and then now they're in the playoffs, they're in the Super Bowl, and things of that nature. Drake May looks like a star quarterback. I think they got a chance. And that division is tough though. Like Bo Nix has got the Broncos to the playoffs back-to-back seasons. The Chiefs are not going to be down for forever. The Chargers have made enough reinforcements on the offensive line and probably won't be done come the draft, depending on who's on the board for them at 22. So it's going to be tough for sure, but I think that they can, as long as they make the right moves.
Okay.
I actually agree with him. I think it's more about the timeline and continuity of what's going on in the AFC West. The Broncos were literally a quarterback away, good quarterback away, I would say, to getting to the Super Bowl if Bo Nix didn't get hurt. The Chargers, they were banged up last year, injuries on defense and offensive line. But, Justin Herbert, he's still a good quarterback. We've seen them a free agent doing some things. And, of course, Kansas City, that season was pretty wild to see Kansas City being down like that. Almost looked like I was looking at Matt Castle more than Patrick Mahomes and them. But I think Patrick Mahomes and them, they'll get some things swinging, get back on the table in the playoffs. So
they already made their splash in free agency already. So
yeah, they have. So I think the division thing is a key factor as well. Now, there's always years where, some teams make big outs and stuff like that. Raiders definitely making moves. I like the moves they're making on defense, getting Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean to get that middle line up. Tyler Linderbaum is going to help that running game with Ashton Genty. So, we'll see. But I don't necessarily see him staying that long with the Raiders. Maybe probably at best. I know Damian's saying he'll probably get traded, but maybe I can see maybe 1 to 2 years with that team.
Okay.
If they can't find a good trade partner, because if they're looking for that package that they gave the Ravens already, I don't think any teams are going to be willing.
That's not happening.
Yeah, I don't think any teams is willing, so they're going to have to be okay with, maybe a third, maybe a fourth, going for them.
Teams are, especially for next year's draft, teams are not trying to just give up first round picks for 2027. That class looks like one of the more special groups from top to bottom.
You smell money?
It's going to be a lot of teams are going to be jostling for position. I wouldn't be surprised to see teams that are heading towards that top 10 come trade deadline start just fire sailing to make sure they finish the job and get themselves a top 10 pick, especially when you look at the quarterback. The receiver class is supposed to be legit. You got edge, offensive, like it's that class is supposed to look vastly better than this one. Now, again, that's a lot of projection because we got to see what happens with the quarterbacks. I'm not as high on the quarterback class as everybody else, but the guys got to show me something before I can really stamp them as like true first round picks. So we'll see, Arch Manning included. But yeah, everybody, their teams aren't trying to. They're not trying to move off those 2027 picks like that. The only thing you probably could do is you probably get a second round pick come trade deadline when teams are like, listen, we're in position to win now. Like, yeah, your team probably would send that second round pick and not blink. But at first in 2027, your best bet was Baltimore, probably.
That's interesting facts.
Yeah, it really is. So, next question on the panel is, looking at free agency now, what are some teams that you feel like has done an outstanding job, and what are some teams that you feel like, you probably could have done better the first week of free agency?
Oh man, I love what the Rams have done this through off season so far. Understanding that your biggest issue is your secondary. And going and throwing money at it, getting the corner. I think they got both corners from Kansas City, if I'm not mistaken. Both starting outside corners. So going and throwing money at it and understanding like Bryce Young and Jalen Coker made you look like you didn't belong on the same field with them. And yeah, that's not something you see when you're a Super Bowl championship team like the Rams. That's not something you want to walk away with that type of feeling. You know what I mean? You had no answer for them. And that was a team I think that really exposed that big weakness in their secondary was the fact that they didn't have size or strength to try and go man to man with those big 6'3", 6'4" wide receivers. And don't get me wrong, Trent McDuffie's a smaller corner, but he's a much more nuanced and better cover corner than Emmanuel Forbes and a Kobe Durant. So being able to now have guys on the outside we feel comfortable with, you got the pass rush. And that's the key. Now you can play man-to-man coverage. You can crowd the line of scrimmage. You could take away some of that, those timing and rhythm throws and, different things like that, the OTB routes and all the stuff that Dave Canales likes to do with Bryce. You can kind of blanket some of those things a little bit better now because, yeah, the cornerback room they had last year just wasn't going to get the job done, especially, and not even just that, dealing with JSN in your division. Now you got Mike Evans you have to deal with. You have a more competent play caller in Arizona because Drew Petzing was not good. You know what I mean? And, having Marvin Harrison Jr. healthy, and we saw what happened with Michael Wilson. You got Trey McBride over there in Arizona. And Jacoby Brissett was able to get those guys the football a little bit better than Kyler was. So, yeah, you got to make sure you can cover in this division. I love what the Rams were able to do. Got to shout out the Panthers addressing their two biggest needs, edge rush and linebacker. Like now you go into the draft if you're the Panthers and you say at pick 19, we can go BPA instead of just hoping that there's a linebacker there of value that you can select. Now you can, kind of move around the board a little bit. If you want to trade down, look at those options, add another pass catcher like a Kenyon Sadiq at tight end because they don't have an explosive threat at the tight end spot. So I like what they've done, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I would probably say I actually like what Buffalo did going to get DJ Moore because they needed the outside. They needed a guy that could take the top off the defense, a guy that we saw late in games, clutch situations. Caleb Williams looked no other direction than DJ Moore, and they were almost money every single time. The ball tracking, the contested collision catches, those grown man catches late in games, like he made those, so like being able to get a guy like that, I think they said like a second round pick, it's fine. Play him on the outside, let him be your X, and then figure out what you're going to do with Keon Coleman overall. Like that's the thing they have to figure out. The Steelers making that trade for Michael Pittman Jr. was not one I was a fan of. I'm not a big fan of his game overall. And that's you got DK Metcalf. I understand to an extent of what they were trying to do, but I would say look at what the Houston Texans passing offense looked like when they overdrafted Jaden Higgins And that's the exact same prototype as a Michael Pittman Jr. Doesn't separate well, doesn't have top end speed, more of a first and second level route runner, more of a zone beater than a man-to-man beater themselves. And I don't have a problem playing man coverage against guys like that. Shade you inside, force you outside, run with you, blanket you, use the sideline. And for me, I still think they need to go wide receiver in the draft. They lost Calvin Austin, who's their fastest receiver. So now you got slower, you got bigger, but you got slower. And so I'm not a big fan of that. Of course, we're waiting to see if Aaron Rodgers, does make that decision to come back. But for them, at pick 21, it's still murky. It's like, do we go quarterback and Ty Simpson and get a guy for the future? Or do we go with Casey Concepcion or Zachariah Branch and get a explosive? They still have a hole in that passing offense for speed. So that was the one team I wasn't a big fan of what they did during free agency, because I just was like, that wasn't really. It didn't move the needle for me.
Don't. No, Zach is not going up there. It's just.
Yeah, listen, they need him. They can use him.
And they can buy somebody else. I'm just saying. No more Georgia wide receivers in Steeler uniforms.
Yeah, fair.
That's funny. So to just talk about, you came from the combine. There was definitely some players out there to see. There were some questions you had about, some measurables, what the type of person they are. What did you walk away this 2026 NFL Combine with?
I'd probably say I walked away with looking at the edge rush group, and especially at the top, like David Bailey. One of the talking points was his body type. What was he going to look like in person? And when we saw him initially, he had a jacket on at the podium. And then you see him at the, when he's on the field working out. And it's like, okay, he's clearly been in the gym. Like, you know what I mean? So he's clearly put on some more muscle, some more strength to his frame. So being able to see those guys, that was good. Being able to listen to Drew Aller talk about his rehab process and how well-spoken he was, how intelligent he was. And truthfully, just understand, like, somebody's going to take a flyer on him on day two, more than likely. When you're 6'4", 6'5", 230, rocket arm, you're a 2-3 year starter, but you have the competitive drive to. I mean, he said, he's like, hey, I attacked rehab with the intent in mind to come to the combine and throw. He's like, I wasn't worried about running and jumping. I wanted to throw. So NFL coaches love that stuff. Like there's going to be an OC, a QB coach, and a head coach. They hear that. He's probably said that in all of his interviews, and they're like, yeah, day two, we're probably going to pull the trigger, add him, probably play him, have him sit behind a vet. But overall, just the depth of this class at key positions, wide receiver, edge, the DB class is loaded from corner to safety, linebacker, and just like I said, seeing the body types of some of these guys. Some of these guys look the part. Like, that's a big thing for me, being the LTP or looking the part. Like, so for people who want football players or look like football players, a lot of those guys showed up to the combine and they looked just like they were supposed to.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Really quick, DT. I know I gave you a list of a couple of players that like I said, we don't have to have a full conversation about them. Just kind of throw out there like your thoughts of like your top three, your less three when it comes down to it of kind of who you're think can thrive.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the list that you sent, Chris Brazzell out of wide receiver out of Tennessee, 6'4", 6'5", 200 pounds, 4.37, explosive athlete, but he's much more nuanced and detailed as a route runner. I think Stephon Diggs talked about route running being more speed dilation and deception and knowing when to decelerate and reaccelerate and things of that nature. And he has that for a 6'5" guy. He has every bit of that for Chris Brazzell. So I think he's going to be I have him as an early second, but I think, with the way he tested at the combine, you think about a team like the Patriots needing another receiver at 31, he would be an ideal fit with a big arm quarterback like Drake May. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's funny that you said that because one of one of our people. He's coming on a little bit late, but that was literally his eyes and what he's looking at for the
Mm.
Patriots.
Well,
So it's funny that you
it
said that.
fits. It fits
It fits.
100%. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, love his game. Safety out of Toledo, and Toledo just knows how they have done a great job between him. They have another corner, more of a nickel guy, Avery Smith,
Avery
who went
Smith,
to the Shrine Bowl.
Andre
I
Fuller.
like Andre Fuller, both of those guys. And you think, you look at the NFL with the Eagles, with Quinyon Mitchell, my dog got with the Eagles. They've done a great job recruiting and developing these DBs. So Emmanuel McNeil Warren, teams are going. I mean, after what they saw, teams got real cute with Nick Eamon last year. The draft community got very cute with him last year. It was a lot of tweets trying to tear down his game and just highlighting some of the rawness. But I always say, man, and I mean, I went to South Carolina's Pro Day, and I heard it was more of what he was asked to do than more than what he could do. And that's the thing you try to figure out when you're scouting, and as an analyst, you want to figure out what are you asked to do compared to what can you do. And he could do more, and Mike McDonald was able to showcase that he could do more. You know what I mean? So teams are going to be looking for that archetype. EMW isn't that level of athlete. Like I think he was 6'3", in terms of Eamon Warrior, 6'3", ran with sub 4'4". Like EMW isn't that level of athlete, but he can play that big nickel, big dime backer, strong safety, handle and deal with tight ends and coverage. Like this is a guy, he strikes and hits the ball carrier. He can blitz. He can do a lot of different things for your defense. I think he's going to find a spot to thrive. Malachi Lawrence is another one that's risen. He was at the Shrine Bowl as well. Played, practiced well there. Then went to the combine and blew it up and really tested well to really put people on his, put him on people's radars. Kyle Lewis is a guy I do like. I don't like him as much of a linebacker because he's undersized. I think teams should probably look to convert him into a safety and allow him to kind of play that low hole because he can cover. It's just now when you're undersized and you're in the box, and the way teams like history repeats itself. You know what I mean? Back in the 90s, the starter jackets were a thing. Then they went away, and now starter jackets are back. Like, you know what I mean? From haircuts to whatever. Like, history always repeats itself. And it's the same thing in the NFL. Teams defenses are playing too high coverages. They're taking away the deep ball, and offenses have responded with, we're going to be physical and run the ball. So for a guy like Kyle Lewis, I think it's better to play him as more of a safety or a sub package guy because his coverage ability, he's probably one of the best coverage linebackers in this class. Dude can run with pretty much anybody. He can flip his hips and turn and do everything he needs to do there. Jacoby Lane is a guy that I came in the season high on. I have soured on him a little, not even a little bit, a lot actually. Just because he doesn't, for me, when I'm watching his film, he had a great combine. He wasn't great at the Senior Bowl. He doesn't play. He plays with. He doesn't play with urgency. There's a lack of urgency with him as a wide receiver, where you run a 4.47, and the way he ran through the gauntlet drill, and he was just gliding like a gazelle. And I'm just like, I need to see that on film, and he doesn't do that a lot. Like, you know what I mean? At the Senior Bowl, you got Malik Muhammad from Texas, who's like 5'10", and he's like two-hand jamming them. You know what I mean? At the line of scrimmage, and I'm like, when guys aren't afraid that you're going to threaten them with speed and acceleration, they'll do things like that because you're not doing that to an Xavier Worthy like that because, if you miss, he's going to take the top off the defense. So I want to see Jacoby play with a little bit more suddenness and more urgency. Harold Perkins, loved him as a freshman. I have no idea what teams are going to do with him. No idea whatsoever. He's undersized. He's like 220 pounds. He's like 6'1". It's just hard to envision. Like, he's a good football player, but it's more so, as we've seen with guys like Isaiah Simmons, who was a bigger, more athletic guy. You know what I mean? If you don't have a full-time position, like, it's easy to get thrown into a special team role. It's easy to be lost once you get on the NFL team. So for him, I mean, the natural pass rush ability is there, but again, you're 6'1", 222. So if we're going to put you as a edge rusher, you're going to be like James Houston, who was with the Lions a couple years ago, where you're more of a DPR, fresh legs. You probably play 30 snaps, 40, 35 snaps a game, and most of them going to be on third down. So, that really is just going to be all about what the DC want to do with him. That's another guy I think could probably play safety. You know what I mean? Play that strong safety role because his build and athleticism. But then you're putting him in the spot he's never been in. So it's just it's a lot that comes with Harold Perkins that I would not want to be the DC trying to figure that out because that's a lot.
Let me ask you something. You brought up a couple names, and I wanted to ask you how much does reputation of previous prospects from that school kind of weigh in your evaluation and maybe in the minds of other folks around the league? Like we talk about a Chris Brazzell, a big guy, physical guy, 6'5", reminds me a lot of Dante Thornton a couple years ago, who kind of came from that same kind of route concept, same type of build, hasn't quite, worked out. Another guy like Caden Proctor, big, athletic tackle from Alabama. We haven't seen those guys really, really, really work out in the NFL. So how does the previous history of some of these athletes and some of these prospects affect the evaluation going forward? Because I know I keep it in the back of my mind a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely warranted, right? Like you have to, when you're watching the Tennessee wide receiver, you have to go in on, all right, this offense is not a pro style offense, right? Like so you have to think about all those things when you're getting ready to watch film, and then I just extrapolate the reps and I go rep by rep of what he's asked to do, what can you do. And I was like, for me, Thornton went exactly where I had him graded last year, 4th round. I said he's a perfect developmental, explosive wide receiver. You draft, you stash, and you work on this game. You know what I mean? And so watching Brazzell, you see more of a route running nuance from him, more of a little bit more expanded tree. But yeah, to your point, it definitely plays a part. Like when you are, like when you are at a position from a specific school and it doesn't work out consistently in the league, it does put a bad stain on you just because of that reputation. And so like the players themselves don't think about it, but when we're watching film, we want you to supersede that, like overcome that. You know what I mean? And a lot of times it's difficult. So definitely something that plays a part. I advise everybody, do not helmet scout anybody. But definitely keep in the back of your head. Like, you're watching, all right, you know what you're getting into. Tennessee's offense is Mickey Mouse, wild alignments and different things like that. It's like, okay, well, when you are on the boundary close to the sideline against press coverage, what do? And I love you, but you turn on the Georgia game. You know what I mean? And he took that game. Chris Brazzell took that game over. You know what I mean? And so like,
and so the kicker missed.
9
years.
Kicker, they definitely let y'all back in that game. But for Brazzell, that's what you look for. It's like, okay, are you Dante Thornton Jr.? Are you Jalen Hyatt, where you're a one-trick pony and you're just a 4-3 athlete taking the top off? Then you turn on the tape against Georgia, one of the most respected defenses in the country. You're like, oh, okay, so you do have route running ability, nuance and detail, and stuff like that. And you have a more release package. You can track the ball well, things of that nature. You look forward to seeing those type of things. Heck, I mean, you look at even sticking with Georgia, right? Like people look at Zachariah Branch because from how Mike Bobo used him and how he was used at USC. And I tell everybody right now, like, watching them run routes at the combine, I was like, yeah, he can do a lot more than he was asked. Like, you know what I mean? I knew he was going to test like an explosive athlete, but this is a young man that can run and stab the ground and separate. And I'm like, you get him with the right OC who's not going to look at the film and say, okay, this is all you can do. They see him in camp and they let him get those one-on-ones against their top DBs and allow him to open up that route tree and say, go get it. And I think this is a guy that can make a big-time impact, similar to like a Zay Flowers with the Baltimore Ravens. Put him as your explosive slot receiver, give him that the 3-way go, and now you got a guy that can make a lot of plays for you.
See, and just to speak on that, Georgia is not that team that is pretty much in the 2026. We're still back in the 1980s because we're a run first, pass later team. You know what?
Leather helmets.
But look, hush. But no. But when we're talking about like the style of offense and even talking about like that of Georgia, yes, but here's the kicker that a lot of people, I know you probably know, but a lot of people didn't realize when Zachariah took off that first game for us, every game plan from that moment forward was take him out. So we only could do so much that we could do with him, because that was the first thing that they pretty much did was saying, "Hey,
My
take
nephew
him
saying,
out."
"Hey,
Hey,
What's up,
So,
big man?
man.
Say
hey,
go
nephew,
blue.
say
oh
hey."
no,
Say go
no,
blue.
Don't say
oh
no
So,
Lord,
blue.
man.
Say
no,
but.
not
Say
not
no.
not a, not. I told you.
Said no. You don't know go Bucks. I don't care. You're a
But yeah,
Virginia Tech fan.
like that was the one, that was the one thing that I did notice with a lot of teams. They game plan for Zach. They didn't game plan for nobody else. They game plan definitely for Zach. That's another reason why Georgia offense was looking the way that it did, and we were really running that ball. With that, if we would have got the tight ends in, we would have been better. But well, that's another story for a different day.
Gotta improve the QB situation over there. You gotta improve. All these game managers at quarterback limits what you can
Not
do
gonna
offensively.
do it. They not gonna do
Limits what you can do offensively.
it.
I know. Kirby is
They're not
Kirby,
gonna do
so
it.
it is what it is.
Yeah, they're not gonna do it. But hey, moving on. Defense is gonna be better this year. Hopefully, offense does the same. But we'll see. We got some good prospects and QBs coming in these next couple of years. But yeah, speaking of QBs, I know you mentioned about a couple of these QBs. And I know some decided that they were going to stay back this year and wait until next year. But
Mhm.
what is your thought process? Because again, I'm not going to say it's a lot of QB needy teams this season per se, but where do you kind of think? I think some of these boys are going to be permanent clipboard holders for the next couple of years.
Yeah, for this class especially, of course, if Dante Moore declared he's probably the second overall pick to the Jets, and
Mhm.
Arvell Reese falls to somewhere else, you know what I mean. But he decided to go back. Very risky decision. It wasn't one that I would have advised personally, because going back to school and developing is a myth. It is not a guarantee. It is not a guarantee. And people, it's easy to tweet that from our offices and couches and everything else like that. But when you look at even last year's class, Drew Aller, Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeyer, those guys went back and had worse seasons than they had in 2024. But two of the guys ended up having serious injuries, and their stocks plummeted altogether because of it. So going back and assuming you're going to get better. And the one thing, I mean, for Dante Moore is just more so how you handle pressure. And a lot of times that's not, is it a time on task thing? Sure. It's more of a mentality. Like you got to, that's why I was high on Fernando. Fernando was my QB1 from June of last year to now. You know what I mean? And it was watching the Cal tape, watching the guy versus an SEC opponent, knowing that they're sending zero pressure, standing in there and throwing the 15-yard out route and getting blasted doing it. You know what I mean? Like you have to be tough. I don't care how many times you see pressure, they're going to get a free runner to you. And if you're not tough enough or physical enough mentally to stand in there and drill that whole shot, listen, it doesn't really matter how many times you see it. So for Dante Moore, definitely, wish him the best. Definitely want to see him in this class. But for this group, when you look at Ty Simpson, Garrett Nussmeyer, I think the places that I look at are the Steelers, whether that's at 21 or round 2 as a landing spot for a quarterback. I know they got Will Howard. Will Howard was a fifth or sixth round pick last year. I'm not really factoring that in. You know what I mean? Like they absolutely probably take a quarterback day 2. And it's the Arizona Cardinals. Like right now, their two quarterbacks are Gardner Minshew and Jacoby Brissett. Like unless you're just going full blown take mode and you're just like trying to get up for a highest pick possible for next year, I think they end with Mike LaFleur and running that kind of LaFleur West Coast type of scheme. I think either Ty Simpson or Garrett Nussmeyer will be a great fit for either one for that offense. So I think Pittsburgh. Could the Jets have? They got 5 picks in the top 103. They have
Ooh.
33, 44, and 103. They could take a swing on the quarterback. I doubt it. I think that they're just like, listen, we're going to try, we got Geno, let Geno do his thing, go through the whole season, try to get Arch next year, make the big splash. They haven't had a true quarterback since Joe Namath. So it's been a very, very, very long time for the New York Jets. You know what I mean? So they've been trying to figure it out. So I think that they're probably waiting until next year, go ahead and try to, get the big fit. And they have 3 first-round picks next year. There's a chance you end up having Arch Manning and Jeremiah Smith if everything plays into the hands of the Jets. So
what my man Aaron Glenn got to do to keep his job to see those 3 picks? What he got to do? Because we got to
be the coach.
Put it like this: if we can let Raheem go,
it's a dilemma.
They might hire somebody from Jay Nick's staff to be the coach.
Nah, I'm willing to do that.
I mean, if he could try the Dayball thing and draft the quarterback anyway, you know what I'm saying? He could try it. He could try the Dayball thing and say, I'm going to draft me a quarterback, let these old guys play the first 6 games and let Ty Simpson and Garrett Nussmeier take the reins. And if they look good enough, we're fine and we don't need to draft QB. But I don't have the greatest confidence in the Jets keeping him after next season. I would love to see them showcase some type of stability, because again, like I don't believe in allowing a coach that's on the hot seat to use my picks that are valuable picks the year before you fire him. You know what I mean? If that's the case, you fire him fire him after the season, and you bring in a new coach.
But didn't they bring in a new GM, or am I incorrect?
I think he came in with Aaron Glenn, if I'm not mistaken. They both came in together.
Yeah,
so it's kind of they're almost tied.
They're probably tied together.
Yeah, they're probably tied. So that's why
until they're not.
Until they're not. Correct. So
they the Falcons 2.0.
So yeah, it's a wild situation in New York with the Jets. I mean, and really what you would definitely hope for, because you do have the 3 first-round picks. You're like, you know what? Maybe Geno, because I'll be honest, I watched some of Geno's film. It wasn't all Geno. Like that offensive line in Las Vegas was terrible. You know what I mean? They couldn't pass protect, they couldn't run block, they couldn't do anything. So it's like, all right, if I'm the Jets, you hope you get a better version of Geno.
But with Geno gives them a viable option out there. Not with Garrett Wilson, and it looks like they're going to keep Brees. They definitely have some viability offensively, and that's the fight. That's the fighting chance. That's even my man, my man Glenn, a fighting chance over there. I think they need to win about 7 games. They win 7. Maybe he'll see the light of day.
If you can be competitive and keep a top 19 pick where it's not going to cost you the farm to move up for a young quarterback next year, I think that's probably the best bet. And I think Geno, the Jets' offensive line is pretty good. You got 2 young bookend tackles, Brees Hall, Braylon Allen in the backfield, Mason Taylor at tight end. I think Adonai Mitchell, they got for that Sauce trade. I think he's a type of I think Geno could unlock him, because being 6'4", 205, 210, explosive athlete. He's a great route runner. He does everything well. Now it's all about just catching the ball consistently for him, or having that confidence rather. I mean, going through QB purgatory like the Colts have gone through, that can mess with a guy's psyche. You know what I mean? So hopefully he gets back to being confident to what we saw in college. The flashes at Georgia, what he was able to do at Texas, get that guy back mentally. I think that you have him, Garrett Wilson. I think with that 16th pick, I expect the Jets to go wide receiver. If Mekhi Lemon is there, I think that's the pick that they're going to make and get their slot receiver for the future. But yeah, they're in a great spot. It's just Aaron Glenn, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? You got to figure something out. And so if I'm him, that 30, if Ty Simpson's on the board at that 33rd pick, why not? You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to trust me to make the picks, I'm going to go get me a quarterback. And now I'll put you in the position where do you take Ty and then give up on Ty after you fire me and then try to get Arch? It looks like that's going to be a very difficult situation for the Jets.
Jay Mick is over here saying in his head, do not give them any type of kudos or ideas, because they still got to get past us.
I mean, I feel like the year for them to win 6-7 games was this past year. That that schedule hard for the whole division. Like we got to play what the AFC West and the NFC North. That's no walk in the park right there. I'm just saying.
No, not at all, not at all. Both of those divisions are going to be tough to have to deal with. And plus, you're the teams in your own division, and you're the Jets. You're probably, well, not even probably, you're the worst team in the division right now, worse than the Dolphins.
I mean, the
Dolphins are bad too. The Dolphins definitely
over there. Everything on the front porch over there, on the front lawn over there in Miami.
Listen, they're definitely not in a good spot. But I think you got a little bit more time over there. New head coach and GM and all that stuff. They should be fine. I think Malik Willis is going to do well over there. Especially having a guy like Jalen Waddle and Malik Washington. I think they're going to draft a receiver too. You know what I mean? Round 2, I think they go corner first round with that 11th overall pick because they got they just traded away Minka, and I don't know who their corners are right now. So, like, they need to get some help in that secondary.
So, because I know you got to get out of here and finish up some work, but if you can name from each conference, like from even what you have seen, from the off season, but knowing what some of these teams actually are going to need possibly moving forward, what division from each, the NFC and the AFC, do you think is going to be one of the toughest ones where you're probably going to see a battle out of?
Oof. NFC, I would probably go, and that North is difficult. You got Caleb ascending, Jordan Love. You got to stay healthy, though. He's got to stay healthy. But him, Goff. What's the other team in that division? I'm blanking. Oh, now you got Kyler Murray in that division with Justin Jefferson. No, he's happy about that. JJ, getting the quarterback and giving him the football. That's a tough division. I'm probably going to go NFC West though. You got the reigning Super Bowl champs, the Niners, who are always a tough out no matter what they have on the roster. Kyle Shanahan's a great coach, and everything and whatnot, especially offensively. And then you got the Rams, who are absolute, like the Rams again spent their money. I think because it was, matter of fact, I think it was against the Panthers where the commentator was like, yeah, they've spent the most of their money on offense and the least of their money on defense. And then as you saw the games play out, you're like, oh, that absolutely is the truth. You definitely didn't spend anything on defense because you couldn't stop a nosebleed. So like now having the new corners they have, I think they probably would go linebacker. Day 2, they should. The pair with Landman. I think the Cardinals are still going to be a competitive team. They're physical. They want to run. He just signed like 17 running backs, so they're going to run the football. You know what I mean? They're going to run the football. So I would probably say the NFC West. The NFC West is probably a team. I mean, the division. It's going to be black and blue. I think every time any two teams in that division are on the schedule to face each other, it's going to be just a slugfest. And then I said from the AFC, that's tough too. Because, you know what? I'm gonna say AFC West. I'm gonna say AFC West. And Pat Mahomes come back. All bearing that Pat Mahomes is back early. So Mahomes, Mendoza, Bo Nix, Justin Herbert. Like that's going to be a very interesting division to watch. The Broncos got an elite defense. The Chargers defense is good. I think they could add another piece or two, especially knowing that Khalil Mack is going to be there. I think after this year should be his last year and everything. They could go D-line and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's probably the division. Like I think those matchups with Broncos, Chiefs, the matchups with Broncos and Chargers are going to be a lot of fun to watch, as long as everybody stays healthy. You know what I mean? Which isn't a guarantee because it's football. So, but I think that's one of the more competitive divisions in the AFC. I was almost willing to pick the NFC North, but the Browns are in that division, so I couldn't do that because I have no idea who their quarterback's going to be. I have no clue who they're playing quarterback.
Deshaun might walk back on the field and take it back over.
God bless. You know what I mean? God bless. I don't know how that's going to play out. We'll see. I do like what they've done offensively with the O-line. A lot of the additions they've made. I think there's to be. I'll tell you what I truly believe. I just dropped the episode today of Locked On NFL Draft, a bonus one this evening. I actually think at 6, it's going to be either between wide receiver. I think they're going to go left tackle, and I think they're going to take the Georgia kid, Monroe Freeland, at 6. Because that when you look at their offensive line, you got Tevin Jenkins. They signed Elton Jenkins from the Packers, who they released. They brought in Zion Johnson to play left guard. They traded for Titus Howard to play right tackle. Now you got one spot you got to fix, and that's the left tackle spot. And you could wait to pick 20. I think it's like 26 or whatever they have in the first round, the second pick. They can wait to that spot, but you're probably going to get Caleb Lomu from Utah. And I think I was told at the combine he wants to play between 290 and 300 even. That worries me in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, you're trying to play undersized at tackle, like with the grown men we see in this league. All right. You know what I mean? Like, your anchor better be elite, A1, because you're going to get driven back if you put 290 pounds playing left tackle. So I think at 6, they go Monroe Freeland.
Quick question. You brought up the offensive tackle position, and that's a position that the Lions are definitely looking hard at. You bring up Freeland's name. I wanted to know, is there some movement amongst those top-ranked tackles? Because you mentioned Fanu possibly being moved inside. I've been hearing Mauga could possibly be moved inside to guard. Is there some movement and some fluidity among those top tackles, and who's moving to the top?
Oh man, Freeland, I think, is moving into that top 10 because he's the pure left tackle that teams are going to be looking for. 6'7", 315, almost 35-inch arms, easy mover, athletic young man, and he's still young. So it's like he's not even a full developed product yet, which is, that can also be a little bit of a problem. I mean, if the expectations are too high. But I think he's moved himself up. I think Maui Noah, he said at the combine, he's like, I'll play whatever position they need me to. Luckily, he came in with, I believe, over 33s or at 33s, if I'm not mistaken. I think his arm length came with mindset that he had to move. Yeah, he came in 33 in the quarter. So he's going to be fine in terms of arm length. I think he stays at right tackle. Yeah, Fano, I definitely think kicks in that guard. And then the guy to watch, I think there's 2 dudes that I think are going to move themselves up if they haven't already into round 1. Max Ioninker out of right tackle out of Arizona State. Physical in the run game, athletic. He looks the part. And then a guy from my neck of the woods in South Carolina, Blake Miller, right tackle from Clemson. Another guy, physical, length, good athlete. And I think for the Lions, I actually was doing a mock with my guy Ray Garvin earlier today, and I think we gave the Lions Blake Miller. I was like, now you could flip, talk to Penei Sewell since Taylor Decker's gone, flip Penei back to his original spot, which was left tackle. You let Blake play that right tackle spot, and you have yourself 2 bookend tackles for the next 7 to 10 years. You know what I mean?
Rotate at center.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's
where he at. We're gonna bring in the center. We already got Cade Mays at center from Carolina.
Yeah, y'all did get Cade Mays. So I would say I'd rather leave Tate at guard, let him be a people mover, a bouncer, throwing guys at the club, creating run lanes and things like that. But I definitely think that Max and Blake Miller, for especially for those Lions fans, if they wanted to take a tackle at 17, both of those guys would be on my board. I would just have that conversation with Penei Sewell first. Hey, do you feel comfortable? You are 3, 4, 5 years in playing right tackle. Do you feel comfortable switching back over? Because it's a muscle memory thing. I talked to an old line coach about that, and they say, like, for guys flipping sides, especially guys like, who uses the kick step and kick slides, it's like going from writing with your right hand to your left hand. And it's a lot of muscle memory and relearning and retraining your brain and your body to flip your hips to a different, in that different direction, where you look at like a guy like Joe Alt. Joe Alt doesn't have to do that because he's not a kick step. He's not a kick slide guy. Joe Alt is more of a wide step type of tackle. That's why moving from left to right doesn't bother him, because you don't ever see him with that outside hip back. You never see that with Joe. You see him basically with his feet centered. So when the ball is snapped, he's square every time because of him being 6'8", 320 pounds. Hey, I wouldn't want to be kick stepping and kick slide neither with that size and that body type. So, I think if I'm the Lions, I talk to Penei, see how he feels. If he's good with flipping back to the left, I'm drafting one of these right tackles and improving this offensive line.
Now Blake, he did have some. I think I saw he had like 54 starts. He did have a lot of them at the left tackle's position as well, right? Or was he strictly a right tackle?
Strictly right. Yeah, they had Tristan Lay, and there was another like 3 or 4-star kid that never fully developed at the left tackle spot. They just kept kind of flipping those guys, rotating them in and out. But yeah, he played mostly right tackle. So do I think he's athletic enough to play left? I think potentially. I think he's got enough athleticism. It's just not something he's used to. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a lot of experience doing it. So in that case, I'd be like, hey, Penei, how comfortable are you flipping to left and go ahead and drafting that kid, either him or Max, honestly. Because I think both of those guys could be long-term starters at the next level. If you wanted to wait the day 2, you could go after Northwestern, Caleb Tiernan. He's just a solid, steady Eddie. He's a good player. I mean, I think he could play
he's from right here too. So yeah, if we miss on one of those guys and have to go edge early, we definitely Caleb is somebody we definitely looking at from Brother Rice.
Yeah, y'all need to go edge. I've been pounding the table for that for the last couple of drafts. Like Aiden Hutchinson needs somebody opposite. He needs some help, man. You know what I mean? Like get him a dude opposite of him to let's collapse the pocket from both sides. And because at the end of the day, you got Caleb, and the scariest thing is what we saw this year. Caleb and Ben Johnson figuring it out in real time in their first year. Yeah, you don't want to go to year 2, 3, and 4, and it's just Aiden, you know what I mean, rushing the passer, because we know that Caleb knows how to get out of those situations.
Man, speaking of help, so I've seen Adam Peters spend some bread on this defense, trying to get for Deontay Jones, but JD5 needs some weapons, man. I know we just signed Okonkwo, but we're sitting there at 7. There's a large love affair on the timeline. And, there's also guys trying to look at the wide receiver spot with Carnell Tate, Kyle Lemon, and Jordan Tyson. What would you think be the best player for the Commanders to take offensively at number 7?
Not Jeremiah Love.
Boy, man, y'all got a love affair with that boy.
Okay, first of all, I gotta clear this up because they were talking on the last episode. I couldn't even get up here to defend myself. I am not a Jeremiah Love player. I do love Jeremiah Love, but I'm not one of these fastest on the timeline. But go ahead, David.
If you're talking based off of the grades I have, Jeremiah Love is the highest graded player I have on the offensive side of the ball. And so if he's there at 7, run the card up and don't think twice about it. You know what I mean? I think you turn on the tape, you see a special running back. You see a guy that's going to give you that the type of impact that a Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley gives as a 3-down player. Like, you don't have to take him off the field whatsoever. He pass protects. He's intelligent. He catches the ball like a receiver. You turn the Miami game, he runs an out route. He's lined up in the slot 101 against Keontae Scott from Miami. Absolutely destroys him on the out route. You know what I mean? It's just the quarterback was late on the throw. Like, he does all the things you want from an impact player at the running back position. And again, he's special. So, like, if he falls to you at 7, I would probably tell Commander fans don't get too comfortable with that. I don't think he makes it past 4. I think the Titans are the team to look out to drafting him when night 1 kicks off. But if he's not there, heck, either any of the 3 receivers, to be completely honest with you, like, don't really matter to me. I don't care if it's Tyson, Makai, or Tate. Pairing them with Terry McLaurin, I think you feel good about that either way. They all do different things. They all will mesh differently with him. But JD5 needs the weapon. He needs weapons, and that's going to be a conversation though, because while they need weapons, you also need an edge. You need a young guy off the edge that can really get after the quarterback. David Bailey probably will be there, so they would have to probably be looking at Bailey or one of these wide receivers more than likely.
I'm cool over here as a Falcon fan. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
You got no questions? You ain't got no questions?
No, because at this point,
what Tua need over there? Tua need to
go sit his butt down. That's what Tua need to go do. But
They need a wide
But we
receiver
ain't got
on
no
day 2.
quarterback out. We ain't got no quarterback over here right now.
Still gonna be all right. He over there in SEC country again. He gonna rekindle all the memories of them SEC championships.
He might be winning in the
Y'all gonna be right back to where y'all was. I'm telling you.
Oh man,
I don't know.
Left hand up. He gonna have the left hand up out there. I'm telling you. You gotta believe.
I mean, look at this point, our major need is a wide receiver. We did go get one in free agency from the Eagles. So but we still need another wide receiver. That's one. Do not know what our edge position gonna look like. That's still kind of up in the air, way up in the air right now. So that'll be another one that we're looking at. Definitely need another corner. So yeah, we need a lot, and we ain't working with too much since we ain't got no first round picks. You know, that goes back to when you have a coach and a GM that sold the house, and now the other one moving in ain't got no floor.
Yeah, see, that goes back to my point. I'm gonna get out of here. That goes back to my point from earlier. If you on the hot seat, do not allow them to draft the class that you about to fire them with. Like, it doesn't really make sense. Because while James Pierce Jr. was great on the field, as we saw, after the season, so things played out the way it shouldn't have. And now you without a first round pick
during the season too.
So all right, yeah. So he's just a full blown crash out. You know what I mean? Like, brother, you are playing you're getting paid millions. People don't know, these players get paid game checks. Like, once the season is over, like, that's it until we get you back into your actual training. Like, these guys aren't getting paid like 365. You know what I mean? So while you getting your bread, focus on that. But some people can't get out their way. Self-sabotage is a real thing. Prayers up for the brother. I hope he gets the help he needs. But if I'm the Falcons, I'm like, yeah, we don't want to see you for a long, long time. You know what I mean?
And that's why they've been quiet. They have not said a word.
I wouldn't say anything either with that situation. I'll just let it play out in court. Let him deal with what he got to deal with. Right now, we don't even know you. Well, you know what I mean? We've already removed your number from our contacts. So, yeah, you won't be getting any checks from us because you won't be playing, brother. So, other than that, I think, second round, wide receiver, edge, both of them are deep groups. They can probably, Falcons honestly can get a receiver on round 3, truthfully. Day 2, that's where you probably, unfortunately, have to look at another edge, but definitely receiver. This is a loaded receiver class. Skylar Bell out of Connecticut would be a good guy to pair with Drake London. I mean, if he fell to round 3, you want to go edge first, Chris Bell out of Louisville would be a great addition once he's healthy from the torn ACL. He said at the combine, we asked him at the combine, like, what he would have run. He's like, I've hit 4.3. Like, I would have hit 4.3. And he's a big dude. He's like 215, 20 pounds. So, like, just was unfortunately towards ACL back in October. So, but I think he said he should be ready. I think he was talking about he should be ready by camp, but we'll see when we get there. Ted Hurst out of Georgia State, right out your backyard. That's a guy I like a lot. He's a George Pickens variant, just dominant at the catch point, body control, late hands. Plays with great contact balance as well. A sleeper guy to look out for, and then I'm out of here. Dejon Stribling from Ole Miss. Ran sub 4.4 at the combine, and this is a guy I like this tape a lot. Plays the X, but of course with Drake London, he plays that Z spot. He tracks the ball well. Runs good routes for the most part, and he's best suited as a 2-3, and that's a guy that can fit into Atlanta. But let me get out of here. I got some Scott reports to write up, so I appreciate y'all for the time, of course. You know what I mean? It's always a yearly thing for me at this point. So it's a yearly thing.
Yeah, it is.
So I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Anytime.
All right, man.
Later, y'all.
All right, that was Damian Parson of Lock On Draft. He was sharing some great conversations talking about NFL free agency and the NFL Combine, and thus all the NFL draft news that we need. So any takeaways that we got from that? I think the one thing I definitely took away was, if you a GM and you get my class and you get fired, that's definitely a debt to be paid with. Reference.
As experiencing right now. Yes. I know J Mick, I know you jumped on a little bit. He did touch on some of your players. He really likes Brazel actually going to you guys. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's
Not a big fan of Jacoby Lane.
Okay.
Not a big fan. And Mr. Harold, he don't know what to do with him. He said he will hate to be a DC trying to figure out what to do with him because he's undersized.
See, I mean, that's why I put that name on there because I've been hearing a lot of people talk about Perkins, and you know, I mean, his versatility is good, but it's like nobody knows where he's best at. I think that's the major problem with him as a prospect. So.
Yeah, he liked Kyle Lewis. He did mention Emmanuel as well with that. So he topped a lot, but that Brazel pick is probably gonna be your go-to.
Yeah. See, I mean, the people got to know this, right? Like, I don't like Tennessee. I don't want to draft Tennessee players. But this is the one.
Oh, we talked about it. Yeah, he said and the thing about it is, I'm glad you wasn't on here because he did say legitimately that if you go turn on that Georgia film, Brazel took over that game, and it's kind of like, you know what, it's okay. 9 years, baby, 9 years.
But I mean, the thing about Tennessee wide receivers is none of them, like since like the coach's name that's there, and I forgot his name, but like since he's been there, the wide receivers they've been they've been high level prospects. But none of them have been done well in the league. Like if Brazel turns out to be a good receiver, that'd be the first good wide receiver coming out of Tennessee in what 10, 15 years, something like that. So I mean,
you mentioned that.
Yeah, so that's why people are scared to draft Tennessee wide receivers for that simple fact. But my rule of thumb is one of these suckers got to hit like one of them. One of these years, one of these guys got to come into the league and start playing well. So Brazel, for me, I'm willing to take that risk.
Yeah, I mean, after losing Stephon, that y'all definitely need somebody that can take the top off. So
yeah, I mean, Stephon's still out there. Like, my GM spoke today, and he said it's not out the question that they could try to bring him back. So who knows?
He needs to figure out his life first. He need to figure out that life first.
It's a lot of talent out there. It's a lot of talent out there. I think
he got to figure out what size coat he's gonna wear. Yeah,
I think he'll be fine.
He like white ones or dark ones.
And he need to work with all them kids he got. That's what we need to worry about.
That's another thing. Yeah, he got a lot to work on.
He gonna get green because that's child support. Yo, but just to touch on Braswell though, I actually remember him when he was at Tulane, so he definitely has different route nuances. I think that carried over even with the style that they're teaching at Tennessee. Now, you still have remains to be seen. Now, I mean, if he gets in the NFL, all it takes is one. All it takes is one person to break out the streak of Stern guys and stuff like that. A lot of people talk about Dante Thornton last year. It's kind of weird because him and Thornton almost got similar builds and stuff like that. Yeah. But Braswell, I think he'll be an ideal fit for New England.
Yeah, I mean, we just need talent in that wide receiver position. Period. I mean, between that and just edge, it's just kind of bare from a talent perspective. So I mean, and I want to say we have 11 picks. So this is a good draft to get wide receivers and edge help. So I mean, hopefully they do
it. Y'all looking at O-line?
Huh?
So y'all looking at the O-line?
Nah, I mean, we signed with on AVT from the Jets, so they had the presser today. He playing left guard. Will staying out there left tackle for next year. I kind of figured that's what it's going to be.
He's still going to be a tackle?
Yeah, he's still going to be a left tackle. I kind of do.
Okay, so does that mean Wilson, he gonna be center, right? Jared Wilson gonna be center since y'all training together.
He's being moved to his natural position. Thank God.
Yeah, that's a natural position.
Yeah, that's a natural position. I mean, because so we had Bradbury, like we had signed him from the Vikings the previous year. He had a great year, and I kind of was going to trade him because he had value, and I just they drafted Jared with the 3rd or 4th round, so I figured they was gonna sign a veteran left guard, push him to the center, and we're gonna see what he could do. I mean, I hope it works out for Jared. Look, I'm a huge fan of Jared, and I just hope that him going back to his natural position actually works out for him. So
Yeah, he didn't do bad for us when he played at Georgia. So that was a whole new position for him to have to learn, and he thugged it out. I give it to him, but I know he's gonna be happy to go back to that center position.
I mean, he's happy about it, and the fan base is too. So
that's good news. That is good news. So when Laporta coming back? See Henry?
Oh, Laporta. Hopefully he's back at camp. Hopefully he's back for all the off-season stuff. You know, the back. Supposedly he had back surgery, so everything is
Dang, he had back surgery.
Yeah, he had back surgery.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he had back surgery.
I thought it was just the leg.
No. Branch had an Achilles.
Oh Lord.
Branch had an Achilles. Laporta had back surgery. And we waiting on Kirby to, we don't know what's going on with his knee. So it's a lot of waiting and praying going on up here. And again, we're not making no moves in free agency. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe, Brad did his best work when we were pretty bad. So hopefully the roster gets, not quite as bad, but a little bit worse. And he can, I think we got 10 picks in this draft, and we are going to have to depend on a lot of them.
Just gonna twirl my thumb with my 5 picks and sit here and be quiet.
But I had a question for you, J. Mick, real quick.
Yep.
Regarding your left tackle, how did you feel about his play overall during the season? We definitely heard about his Super Bowl performance, but overall, do you think he's a promising prospect?
So you got to break it down to two. So I'll break it down to 2 time breaks. So you have the time before it. Before his MCL tear and after. I think before the MCL tear, he was pretty good at left tackle. I'm not saying he was an All-Pro or Pro Bowl left tackle, but he was good enough. And then, he tore his MCL. He I think he was out for 4 weeks. Came back, and the performance wasn't the same. I think that's the issue. And also after the Super Bowl, you heard a lot of tackles currently in the league or that have retired that said that they watched Will and Will need to work, on his footwork and his technique. So hopefully he gets with some other tackles that are either in the league or guys that have retired to play the position, and he works on his footwork and in his technique. Because personally, I'm not one of the people that think that arm length is the end all be all. It's important, but I think if you have good technique in footwork, I think you can get around the length of your arms, and I just think that's what he's got to do that this offseason. And like I said earlier, I expected him to play left tackle in his second year. If he has a similar performance, then they're going to look to bring in they're going to draft a left tackle next year. I don't think they'll do that this year. I think we're going to draft a right tackle because Morgan Moses. I don't know how much longer he's really going to play. So I think they're going to draft a right tackle to sit behind Moses and learn from him. And they're going to trust that Will does what he's supposed to do. And hopefully he's your average left tackle.
Yeah, I saw a couple of games, and he didn't look bad, and you didn't really hear him as a problem for the most part of your season. Yeah. And then of course Super Bowl or playoffs, there was a little bit of But hey, he's a rookie. He's not nowhere near a finished product, so I thought it was a solid year for him.
And you also look at the edge rushers he went against. He was going against Khalil Mack, Oweh in the first game, and then the second game against the Texans. You're going against Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. Those are. Those are top echelon, rushers, and then the Denver game, I believe he went against Nick. And I just cannot remember his last name for right now, but Nick, he did a pretty good job on it in the Super Bowl. Everybody's seen the Super Bowl. He was getting, he was getting abused in that game. But he was going up against elite competition, and as a rookie, that's what happened. So
that should light a fire underneath him to go get better. Looking back at that and doing that, you don't, on the biggest stage, all eyes on you, you don't really want to have that as a lasting taste in your mouth, especially when it comes down to it. If I could have done better, we probably could have won. So, we may see a different Will next year. Sometimes that light a fire underneath people. Sometimes it doesn't, but maybe with him, he's a very good competitor. He talked a good game last year during the combine and during the draft process. So we'll see.
Yeah. I guess we're going to see. Because, when he said them words, I'm like, man, if you don't turn out to be good, that they're going to fry you for them words that you said at the combine.
Well, they will.
He said, they will?
We're still frying Tack McKinley for bringing his grandmama up there on stage.
Mm.
Come on, old boy from UCLA.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what.
Uh-huh.
If things keep going the way they going for my man, young Pierce over there, they gonna his mama gonna take over that meme. Don't even worry your little head about it. His mama gonna take that NFL honors meme. His mama gonna take that one over.
Man.
Just give a couple weeks. Not my baby.
Yeah. Hey, look at this point, a lot of mamas should be saying "ain't my baby" at this point, because some of your babies need a little help.
Yes, baby. Yes.
Yeah, some of your babies need a little help. I'm gonna leave that man
DC
alone.
though, did you man? What's going on in DC? AP, I mean, what he got a manual? How to GM? He done opened up the book. He doing some stuff up there, man.
Yeah, especially after everybody want to crash out every single. My fan base is very, very volatile, though. Like I get it. We definitely were swinging this off season like last year, but some of the stuff we did last year, it wasn't as aggressive. This is full aggression. We've been pretty much second place in almost all of the big signings. Felt like we almost got the Pierce, but we offered one more million than the Colts, but he wanted the hometown discount. Tyler Lindenbaum felt like we were close on that one, but eventually Raiders came up and added 3 more millions to that. So I'm not disappointed about that, but I will say I'm very happy with what we have done so far. Identifying in spots that we drastically needed, depth at this spot, edge rusher. They added quarter Meek Robinson. I like his game. He can play inside, outside. So we'll see how that works, especially with Mikey Sanders still on the roster. Only thing I'll probably say is the wide receiver thing is probably the one where we're kind of lacking, and still slightly confused about the Tyler Biadasz thing because them releasing Tyler Biadasz, they were trying to get after Tyler Linderbaum, but right now, what's going to be the thing at center? Are we going to draft a center, or we're going to have Nick Allegretti, who was our guard for 2 years? He's going to transition to center, which he says he played center in college and stuff, but he never really actually played it more than probably like 20 to 30 snaps in the NFL. So I don't want to go into off season, and training camp and stuff really as him. I mean, I can go with him as like a spot starter, but not ideally as my full time starter for 17 games. I think more than likely the center that we're looking for is in the draft.
I mean, the draft is deep in interior linemen. So I mean,
yeah,
that's what you need. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of options. So
yeah, and then the wide receiver spot, that's still in flux. We know obviously. I think I told people in the space of like, look, I know Ayuk. We all know Ayuk is the worst kept secret. Like he wants to come to Washington, but they're not going to let him go right now. They're still going to try to do like things like try to see, if he has a market and stuff. But if there ain't no market, the expectation is he's going to get released and then sign a 1-year proven deal. Well, with Washington, but I think the other wide receiver will probably be in the draft. I don't think seeing a wide receiver it might sign. Maybe I know people talk about De'Ami Brown or maybe Juan Jennings or some sort, but I think right now just try to get some weapons and still add more to the defense.
Yeah, if you bring in Juan Jennings and Ayuk, that'll be pretty nice. That'll be pretty nice for sure. You know what? I hear you guys talk about the wide receiver spot a lot, but I don't know if AP feels the same way you guys feel, because if I was him and I got 2 draft picks, Luke and Lane, what are the top 100 picks, right? Third round picks?
No, I think Luke was a 3rd round.
Okay, maybe
Lane was 4th round.
Okay.
But see, I get where you're coming from, because like I think AP is the type of guy where he's always going to find a late round wide receiver, and this is a class deep at wide receiver. And to Dana's point, Stribling is a guy that I did a mock draft. I'm like, this guy can play the X, he can play outside, he got 4.3. He could be somebody, like can play with us. Because really, to me, personally, I would only go wide receiver if Love or one of the edge rushers is not there. I still would love Downs there too, but I feel like with the safety class being so deep,
Mhm.
they could probably wait and get a safety later on. Sonny Styles, I would love Sonny too. I'm not sure would they take him at 7 though. That's the only thing.
I guess Sonny Styles. That's it for B-Wags, huh? That's it's over with, huh? No 59 tackles
right
for him.
now, I wouldn't be. Hey, I'll just say this. I had a weird dream about this too. I wouldn't be shocked if they still try to bring B. I'm for real though, like because I'm like some hit in my head. It's like okay, Leo Chanel, he's athletic, he can rush passes, he can play multiple things in the front. He comes from Spags defense, which is all about multiplicity. But I'm curious about Green Dot. What I don't think he was the Green Dot in the Kansas City defense. I think that was Nick Bolden. Who would be the Green Dot in this Durante Jones defense? Was it the safety like a Smith when he was over there with Brian Flores? Like who was calling the Green Dot? That's something I need to do. I'm trying to have a Minnesota guy out there and talk more about the scheme complexes and stuff. So me personally, I would not be shocked if they still try to bring Bobby Wagner just because of the mind. Like that matters a lot. Like, yes, we know where he's at, but we're talking about like putting guys in where they're supposed to be. That's been a problem in DC for I don't know how long.
I agree with you. I'm a Wags fan, and I understand he may not be, a 3-down linebacker anymore.
Yeah.
He probably does his best work on 1st and 2nd down, and preferably not in coverage. But again, who do you have on your roster to replace 170 tackles? And again, the knowledge of putting people in position. You know what I mean?
No, that matters, man.
That matters, and I think him being in the locker room amongst young men and being professional. You know what I'm saying? That matters as well. I think he brings a value on the field and as well as off the field that some people I don't think can really measure. Now, again, is he, the same player that he was 4 or 5 years ago? Probably not, you know what I'm saying? But I think he still has some value. And until you bring somebody in, AKA maybe Sonny Styles, you know what I'm saying, to really kind of, pass the torch to, I expect to probably see him out there. That's one of Dan Quinn's guys.
Yeah, Sonny would be great, man.
Sonny, all right. I like Sonny. Yeah, all right.
I know you say all right, but it's good though. But anyway.
I'm glad I'm over here as a Georgia fan. And just waiting for my CJ Allen or Christian Miller to get, taken off the board. Even Everett, shout out to 6. Just gonna watch my boys. Hopefully they don't go to the ops. I meant to tell you that, J Mix. Supposedly CJ Allen may fall to the Panthers.
Even with getting Lloyd?
See, for me, that's not a problem. But for you, that's a problem.
That is.
I don't need people going to the Bills. I don't need him going there. Like I don't want to have to be rooting against him for the next 10 years. I don't want that for myself. I don't want Freeland going to the Dolphins. I don't want that for myself. I mean, so if my guys could go anywhere but to my 3 ops in my division,
we'll take Freeland in Detroit. We'll take Freeland.
Somebody out there, please, draft my guys. Because I don't want to root against these guys for the next 10 years of their life. Please.
Yeah. Man, it's like CJ's literally going to the ops. The ops.
But so I'm not sure about that though, because they signed Devin Lloyd. Like Devin Lloyd.
The way the Panthers are moving, I wouldn't be shocked.
See, I thought for the Panthers, I think what they should do is if Sadiq is there, I think they
should be happy for him. Didn't the Panthers go to the playoffs last year?
They did.
Man,
don't rub that
in. This situation.
Don't rub that in.
You know she's not happy for them.
I'm not. I mean, even with the Bucks are finally getting back to where the Bucks supposed to be. Like now that Mike Evans left, now they're back where they belong.
Mike Evans. That's all right.
Yeah, it's all hate. We don't support over here. It's all hate. We do not support nothing over here because little ETN, yeah, he odd. He a lot. I don't. He odd. Even Tyreek, man. Even Mr. Tyreek down there. So you odd.
What Tyreek signed somewhere?
No, not Tyreek Hill. Our Tyreek that went to Georgia. Yeah, he
I'm
She's not talking about Tyreek Hill.
Gordon, Tyreek Thornton, wait. Tyreek Johnson. What Tyreek we talking about?
Nah, he is safety over there, and we
Middlebury.
Yeah, up to.
And
Yeah,
he's actually had a good little career so far, though. I mean, like
he does. I do commend that. He does have a good career down there, but he's still out. The only one that I can cheer for that's not an op is really Lassiter.
I mean, he's not a primary op, but he kind of like a secondary op. That's
he ain't quite getting you the tempo, though. He ain't quite getting you the
primary, not so much. Secondary, I mean, we kind of had to beat them in the playoffs. So I mean, so it was what it was. But,
yeah. See, I know DT got some ops with Ohio State. I know you got some ops. You got some ops that play on the other team.
Yeah, let's see. At the time, Zeke Elliott was an op. Really trying to think. I don't really remember a lot of Ohio State guys in the NFC East. I don't count Paris Campbell. He barely played. I'm really trying to think. I think Zeke was really the biggest op because we couldn't stop him. And I hated it when they took him at 4. I hated it when he went to 4. I was like, Lord, he's gonna run us over.
Well, I mean, the Eagles don't draft Buckeye players like that. They solely on the Georgia Bama train. That's what they had.
Yeah.
That's your secondary op.
Yeah.
And then the Giants is like, like they love to draft like Tiger players for some reason. I like, especially I mean LSU wide receivers for some reason. So.
Yeah, who's your op, Hen? Who didn't came from Michigan and
I don't carry over the the hate from college to pro, man, because you might be on one of my many fantasy teams and then you become one of my favorites. So I don't carry it over. You know what I mean? David Boston, he was great. Joey Galloway, they all Zeke, they ain't all won championships for me. So I ain't no ops. Ain't no ops.
From your team.
When you lead in the all-time series, ain't no ops. Ain't no ops.
Let him talk.
It's just us and them.
Let him talk.
He take any jab to do Ohio State.
He understood what you were saying, but let him talk. Yeah, I know.
Ain't no damn ops. It's just us and them. Winners and losers.
College football needs to go ahead and come on right on back.
It needs to come on back. We got something for them Buckeyes too. We got something for them too.
I mean, hey, Georgia beat Alabama in basketball too, so I'm straight.
Basketball's crazy.
Don't even talk about basketball. It's just spring football.
What?
That's just spring football in Buckeye land. March Madness just means get ready for football. That's what that means.
That is crazy. And Michigan was actually doing good this season in basketball.
We still gonna be doing good.
What'd you say, JP?
I think Michigan about to get a 1 seed in March Madness. I want to say.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing good. I hope so.
And the championship games this week, like the conference championship games. Or I'm tripping.
Yeah.
SEC is going on right now.
Ours is going on right now. So they haven't played. I think the buys are the preliminary. Y'all played already? Y'all played already? Y'all didn't lose it, y'all?
What are you talking about, y'all?
Ohio State. Oh, you're not Ohio State basketball fan?
Man.
Wait a minute, man. Wait a minute. You don't rock with the school. You just rock with the football team.
No, just rock with the football team.
Bro. I never knew that.
I do the same thing with Georgia. I mean, like it's Georgia football. That's it though.
Look. Here's the backstory.
It's a backstory.
Yeah, there's a backstory. So my church, we have a big body in Pennsylvania, but we also have a body church in Ohio. So we would go when I was younger and stuff like that. And then, you said what?
It's the one I'm off I-75, right?
I can't remember now. It's been so many years, but when I was younger, we would go to Ohio and stuff. And then that's when, I had the Buckeye stuff. And I was like, oh, this stuff look good. Then I seen Ohio State training cards and stuff like that. And I seen all Ohio State stuff. I was like, that's when I started loving Ohio State football.
So who do you cheer for in college basketball now?
In college basketball, I don't really like basketball.
Okay.
Oh,
I've always been a football guy.
Okay. That's fair.
Now, you talking about NBA? Okay, I'd say I don't like basketball, but my dad grew up watching the Bulls. I watched Jordan when he literally just said, "I'm back."
Well, at least you're not a Wizard fan. I mean,
No, I'll say I'm an honorary Wizards fan.
I mean, you shouldn't.
I'll root for them.
No, you shouldn't right now.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
I'll probably be more of an Ohio State basketball fan than a Wizards fan.
Yeah, I'm not really a big basketball guy, man. I'm
gonna leave you alone, man, DT. I'm gonna leave you alone in football season.
But I will watch basketball. But all this stuff right here, I'll just wait to March Madness. I can't keep up.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfectly good sense.
Championship
Don't worry
game,
about it.
championship game, man, I ain't got time for all that stuff, dog.
Yeah, Georgia just set a record for their men's basketball team. This is the most we won ever in the program. So we getting there. We have always been a football school. We were never really a basketball school like that, So, and it's funny because they were like, "Well, hey, you had Dominique, you had the human highlight film on your." That didn't mean nothing. So yeah, we're just now getting back into some type of spotlight. We were ranked half the season into SEC play, and that went down the drain.
Still gonna wait to March Madness. Can't keep up.
Hey, it's coming up.
Yeah, next week.
St.
Patty's Day. Yeah, Tuesday. I'm Irish for a day.
Here's my gripe. If you tell me March Madness, it should start literally as soon as they hit March. Not
what it is, really, because wasn't it the CIAA, wasn't that tournament like last week?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. You shorten your HBCU.
That's what
I'm
saying, though. It's like it starts so late, bro. Like
it actually
March, right?
I mean, but March Madness starts before the NCAA tournament. Like March Madness starts with the conference tournaments. That's what it would start with.
I don't know,
and then you just get down to the big tourney. Yeah. So once you do your conference tourney, now it's time for the big tourney.
I don't know, man. I'm just like college football.
And then the NIT runs concurrently.
Maybe we need a commissioner over there too. Maybe we need to move it up.
No.
Commissioner not doing their job. They're not doing their job.
I'm saying, like, I just be so confused, dog. I feel like, dang, can I just see the tournament, man?
You just want the big time.
I'm mad at my alma mater. I'm mad at my alma mater too. We got smacked, man. Shit, Shaw in the CIAA tournament. Dang, bro.
Look, there go your March Madness right there.
You wasn't cheering them on. That's what happened. You didn't even know they played.
Maybe I should have got a tuba and just played. Maybe
look, there you go. There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a tuba thing, ain't it?
Little inspiration out there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, all right. What we gonna have next week, man?
I don't know who we need to have. Who we need to go pull.
I think we should do a mock draft.
Let's do it. Let's have fun.
Mock draft for all our teams.
Yeah, man.
I ain't got no first round pick, so I come in.
Damn.
That's gonna be excruciating.
Excruciating pain. Seeing all the good players go off, and I'm just looking like, bruh.
Okay, so
I say we still do it.
Okay, so next week we'll do a mock draft, all our teams and stuff. We haven't selected.
I'll help y'all select. I'm just gonna sit here.
We'll I guess we can kind of each grab a team or grab every 3 or 4 teams. I say what is it, 4 of us? So that's that's 8 teams.
Yeah, Snooks. So 5.
As long as it don't be like the check down, you got Cert going off against Andre.
I heard it be political and check down. I heard you gotta get on the jury. You gotta explain why why they need this person, why they should be there.
Well, so
And you still may be judged. Like,
Yo,
no.
they sat there for like 12 minutes. They were going back and forth, yo.
So here's the
No.
thing, right? So like the way we do is like so we'll bring like 6 other people on there, right? So it'll be a full 10 team, right? So the teams that aren't represented, like or like say someone drop out or something, we got to pick for them. I mean, like we try to go BPA for their needs, and sometimes this is. I mean, sometimes we have a little argument sometimes here and there. That's how it works sometimes.
Some of them arguments be motivated by I want that motherfucker. That would be motivated. I need him to fall 3 more spots.
Yo.
I mean, for me that don't work because
But you really need a wide receiver. No, I don't know.
I mean, you can't blame me for that because
Look at your team. Look at your team.
So maybe for the other folk, but I'm picking 31st. So I can't save a play. I'm not saving nobody. So, but I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, my draft season is always a good time.
Oh, y'all be sitting over here playing detective.
And you got to play in the next moves. I mean, like I mean, like if you got a player you really want to get. I mean, sometimes you got to do what you got to do too. I mean, get that player sometimes. Just saying.
Ah, boy. All right, I think that'll be the plan next week. We'll be back here next week. We'll be doing our mock draft with all our teams selected and 7 rounds, and we're gonna talk about it and pick the best players on the board and stuff. It might be some controversy, but I think it'll be a little fun. So I'd love doing mock draft. But that's all I think we got for y'all tonight. More DT got Lady EJ Mick, C Henry, OG. Snooze couldn't join us tonight, but he'll be up here next week. Shout out to Damien for Locked On Draft Podcast, hopping on with us, talking about the NFL draft and the latest in the first week of the NFL free agency. So we'll catch you guys next week around the same time. This is Enters the Lab Podcast presented by Red Zone DC Media. See you guys next Thursday.